Hello, we're sorry for the little technical issue because the screen was supposed to be horizontal and it appeared it wasn't. Hopefully it will be working. So I just repeat the Tier 5 information for you again. That this is a points-based system and there are various categories like creative and sporting, religious workers, we have charity workers, we have sportsmen, we have international authorized programs, and we have seasonal workers. We need still 40 points for that, and we also need a certificate from the approved sponsor, A-rated sponsor, and you also need to keep the maintenance. You get 10 points for that as well, but as if the A-rated sponsor is there, then you don't have to have the maintenance requirement there. So if there is any specific question, please do call us or email us or send your inquiry on message now and we will respond to that. There was a question last time as well and it's been asked again this time. This is about the change of conditions. Those people who have limited leave in this country and they want to change it, the conditions that so they can go for public funding, especially in these circumstances, if the circumstances have made them destitute. So there is a form you need to fill in and send it off to the Home Office, which you can type change of circumstances Home Office application and it will come up and you can complete that and send it off. And if it is too technical for you, then you do need to speak to your lawyer and they will help you to do that. So this is the right time to make that application. Also, we are repeating that all those visitors who are in this country and they're supposed to go back and make any sort of applications, for an example, spouse visa application, or parents who are going to make an application from there, or work permit applications, or entrepreneur, startup applications, since they are here, and if they want to make this application before 31st of May, they should do it now from here, as long as their other requirements have been met. For example, if there is an English language requirement that is there, they have done the test, they can make the application from here. So Sonia, we come to you. Sonia, as I explained, part of MR Solicitor, she's a solicitor and she does property cases as well as litigation, civil matters, whether it is will and probate. So if you have any questions, please send us message and we will try to respond. So we start asking a basic question that if I'm a buyer and I want to buy property in the UK, I never bought the property before, so what are the basic checks I must do before I start the procedure? Over to you, Sonia.
Thank you. Hope everyone's keeping well and safe. We just wanted to give you a few tips to first-time buyers in particular, what to expect when you're trying to purchase a property. So this is after you've seen your property, you've spoken to your agents, and you've made your offer. So if you have an agreement in principle, you'll know what your budget is, and you can begin looking. So with that in mind, you'll have to get your deposit. So typically deposits can range from about 10%. However, some lenders may require between 5 to 20%. And the other thing to keep in mind is if you can't afford a deposit, one way around it is there are some shared ownership property schemes that do offer a 100% mortgage, which means you don't need to put any deposit down. Another option is if you have a family friend or a partner, someone who's willing to gift you the deposit. Ideally, you should have the funds in your account. However, we can help you with that and discuss what we would need if they were to gift you the deposit, get the paperwork, and you would also need to let your mortgage lender know and your solicitors as well. So that's for your finances. You'll not only need enough money for the purchase, but also to bear in mind you'll need extra funds for legal fees, stamp duty, searches, and land registration fees.
You're talking too fast, I think.
Sorry.
Keep it a little low. Thank you.
Okay.
Slow.
So if anyone has any questions on that, please email us or send an email to info@m-rsolicitors.co.uk. So once you have your mortgage and your lender's approved your initial paperwork, they may need to come to the property itself and assess the property if it's worth lending for, and they'll tell you how much they'll give it for. So right now with COVID situations, it is a little difficult for some of the lenders to do their surveys. However, some lenders are accepting virtual surveys, but not all lenders. So you need to consider this with your bank and your financial advisor. And once you do get your offer, bear in mind they will have a time frame. Some vary between 3 to 6 months, so keep that in mind for once you have started your legal process. So once you've given your solicitor's details to the agents, they've received the paperwork and the mortgage offer and the contract from the seller solicitors, your solicitors can now begin searching the property that you would like to purchase. So they would submit for legal searches. You would have to pay for these in addition to the legal fees. So typically, just to give you an idea, the prices can range between £200 to £300. It depends on what searches need to be carried out. And if, for example, one of the searches come back and reveals some further investigation is needed, you may need to submit for another search, but your solicitor will let you know if that is the case. So in the searches, the solicitors are looking for many different things. So some of the things that you should consider are if there's any flooding issues, so any drainage. So these are just to give you an idea of the things that are covered in the searches. So they also consider planning applications. So your council, one of the searches will be sent to your council. Your local council will do an investigation of the area, see if there's any planning applications that have been submitted, and it could be in your neighboring area, or even include things like the railways or anything like that. So the other things that can be reported is if there's any coal mining or subsidence or anything else, your solicitors will let you know. Once the solicitor has all the searches, they'll put them all in a nice summary for you and give that to you, presented as a report on title. Please make sure you do read that carefully. And if you have any questions or you don't understand anything, please feel free to ask. That's what your solicitors are there for. Sorry about that. We're back now.
Okay, thank you very much, Sonia. So if you have any questions on property matters, please do send us message or email us and we'll get back to you. There was a question in the meantime about family documents. If you have made an application to the Home Office, for example, based on contact order with the child, or a parent has made an application, grandparent has made an application, and the application is does have some documents which are from family court. So you cannot send those orders of family court to Home Office, or you cannot produce those documents to the court as part of your case unless and until you have taken permission from the family court, from the very same court who issued the order. Otherwise, Home Office will ask you again and it will delay the process. This is something which has started happening, and there is a clear case law on that. So there is a particular form which you need to fill in and send it with a letter, covering letter, send it to the court, family court, and the family court within few weeks respond you back with the permission that the court is agreeing for you to use these documents or the court orders to the Home Office applications, because this has been happening and people don't know that they do require this document. If it is a divorce certificate, then you do not require permission. But if it's to do with children, the contact order kind of situations, then you do need permission from the court before you can share these documents with Home Office or even with the immigration courts. So please bear in mind that. Let's see more questions here. There's a question that if someone is not in London, then does it work? I didn't understand what is actually the inquiry, so if you can be please specific that what sort of inquiry you are making, I'll be able to tell you. Okay. So Sonia, there's a question for you that most of the lenders are only accepting those mortgage application because of this pandemic only if the applicant have 40% deposit.
So thank you for your question. So this would depend on each lender, that is very specific on their requirements. So ask your broker, your financial advisor on your particular bank and what their requirements are.
And I would add that very recently, very big lenders, if you search, they have actually come up with less deposit schemes. So there are lenders now who are giving you up to 85% of the loan value, of the property value. So this is changing. The lenders are coming up again. This is very recent thing. So please do contact your lender. That reminds me that we will have hopefully next 1 or 2 sessions, we will have financial advisor with us as well. and he will be able to answer your questions relating to lending, as well as if you are in need of short-term loans, then we will be able to help you in that as well. So we will have those services available for you as well. If you have any specific questions, you can email us and we can respond you back. That is info@m-rsolicitors.co.uk. Okay, there are more emails coming. Yes, there's a question on work permit. As I did explain that if you are on visitor visa here at the moment and you do have a certificate of sponsorship from your proposed employer who is willing to employ you, so this is the right time. You can make that application whilst you are in the UK. The deadline at the moment is 31st of May. So let's see. The government has announced that the initial lockdown date was 15th of May, and let's see what happens on 15th of May. The government has indicated, not decided yet, but indicated even the schools may be opening from June. So let's see how the situation goes on, but until 31st of May you have this option to make the application. The question is, what is the financial requirement for the applicant who came here on spouse visa for extension of visa on the basis of family? So if someone has come on a spouse visa in the UK, initially showing that the sponsor did have £18,600, then that should continue. So when the time comes for extension, you still need to prove that jointly or separately you have household income of 18,600 or above, unless you are exempt from that. And exemption is, for an example, if you are in receipt of disability allowance, then you still need to prove that you are still in your spouse is still disabled and the situation is continuing. Then there is exemption, but otherwise the requirement will still the same. And also, if you're going for extension, you will need to do another English test, and that is A2. You must have done A1 first, but this time it will be A2, and once you're going for indefinite leave to remain after 5 years, it would be B1. Okay, the question was, can you please name those lenders who are giving 85%? Definitely. What I'll do is, after this session, replying to this message, I will share with you, because it's in my phone which I'm using for this Facebook session. So I don't want to disturb this at this stage, but I will send you those 2-3 lenders who have provided this offer. But if you Google lenders with 85% offer, I'm sure you will get that, but definitely I'll share that with you. Okay, is there any news for stamp duty holiday after this pandemic?
No, you still have, right now, to pay stamp duty is you have 14 days within the purchase to submit the payment, and ideally your stamp duty fees need to be with the solicitors before completion. So we stand at 14 days from the transaction.
Right, there's another related question. Those people who are selling their house and there is an issue of capital gain tax, I think the government has brought up something that within some few days you have to notify the HMRC about that, which was not required before. Yeah, so please look into that when you are selling your house where there is a capital gain tax. Capital gain tax is normally on the properties where you are not residing. It is your second property, not your household, and you're selling that and there is a gain. So there is a gain tax definitely which you have to pay to the government, but you have to file a return to the HMRC, I believe within 14 days or 28 days, but do check with your solicitors that you have sold this property and there is a liability of capital gain tax. So this was not the case before for submitting this return, but it has come up from this April, so do consider that, please. Okay, that's the same. Yes, the other question which has come, those people who are under 10 years route partner visa, is it possible to change back to 5 years spouse visa route? Yes, this is possible, and you should do that if you are earning the minimum wage, which is 18,600. So for an example, you were an overstayer and you got this visa because you couldn't apply for spouse visa for whatever reasons. Either you were an overstayer or at that time you did not have enough income requirement met, so you went to this human rights category, and under which you were given still 30 months visa but under 10-year route. So once you have obtained that route and in the past 6 months you have earned 18,600 pounds for 1 year, but obviously for 6 months it will be half, and you have worked for that same employer for over 6 months, you can go back even the same day. You will have to pay the fee again, but IHS payment will be adjusted. You don't have to pay the full IHS payment. So the sooner the better once you get this visa, because now you have become legal and you have covered the income threshold, plus you have to have the English language requirement met, for example the A1 test. So you need to make this new FLRM application and you will be granted another 2.5 years visa. So you will have another 2.5 and 2.5, so only 5 years you have to cover, not 10 years. So you will be saving at least 4.5 to 5 years if you switch to spouse visa category. So this was the question. Mostly people, they come and they keep doing the extensions, and after 5 years they come and they come to know that, oh my god, we could have done it before, because if we do it now then still we have to spend another 5 years. It is not possible that you have spent 2.5 years in this 10-year route category and then you say, okay, I spend now 2.5 years in spouse category and I can go for indefinite leave to remain. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to spend 5 years in spouse visa category. Okay, there was again inquiry raised on email about this tier 5. Yes, it is the initial visa is normally for 12 months or less, even if your sponsorship certificate says accordingly. For example, an artist has come here to perform and the sponsor has sponsored you and they say we are sponsoring you for 1 month because there are only 2, 3, 4 shows, different cities. So then the visa will be only valid until then. But whilst you are here and you have got another sponsor, even the same sponsor who is sponsoring you for a longer period, you can get that extension whilst you are here and your visa is valid. So the maximum extension you can get is another 12 months. So altogether you can spend 24 months in this category whilst you are in the country. How long does it take? Normally it is a few weeks procedure, but it can take, normal applications can take 3 months. So if you are planning to come and perform here, you must apply within time, which means 3 months at least in advance. But if you are late, then they have some faster routes where you can pay £500 and extra fees, and it can be done in 5 working days. So if you pay normal fee, then it would be up to 3 months, and if you pay extra 500, it would be within 5 working days. And there is super priority service available as well, and for that there will be further extra £800 for that, I believe. That is super priority service. So as I said, that it is 12 months, but it can be extended to 24 months maximum. So question is, I'm from Pakistan and want to come to UK. How can I get immigration to UK? That is a very general question. You need to understand that in which category you want to apply. So if you are a student and you want to come over here as a student, then there is a different requirement. If you are a businessman, then there are different categories for business. If you are a worker, a highly skilled kind of worker, then you have to have an employer here who can sponsor you. So it is a very basic question, how can I come to UK? You have to have some information about yourself. It is better if you send us your full information on email at info@m-rsolicitors.co.uk, and we will be able to respond in detail. But as I said, for business people, the categories are either entrepreneur categories where you will need £50,000 and you have to have a business plan which should be innovative, viable, and scalable. Other than that, if you're doing a business in Pakistan and you are a minority shareholder, not majority, minority shareholder, or you are working with a big company, and that company, that business decides to open up a branch office here, and they want, if they're manufacturing, they want to manufacture from here, they're trading, they want to trade from here, then they can send their minority partner, shareholder partner, or the employee who is at management level, administration level, who can take decisions. That person can come here under this category. Again, you need the business plan, how you will do the business here and what you intend to do here, and that is another category. There was the entrepreneur category, the previous one, which was £200,000. That was stopped last year in March, probably 19th or 29th of March 2019. It was stopped, and then the startup and the new entrepreneur, innovator, sorry, not entrepreneur, I beg your pardon. It is called innovator. This innovator and startup categories were introduced. In startup, it is for those fresh graduates who have, again, innovative idea. They don't need any uh, investment. They need business plan which has to be endorsed by either their universities if they have studied in the UK, or other bodies the Home Office has authorized. If they authorize or endorse your business plan, then you will get the visa. And the innovator category, as I said, £50,000 you need to show. Again, your business plan has to be endorsed by these bodies, and once it's approved and endorsed, you can have visa on that. The £200,000 entrepreneur category has been abolished. There is that £2 million investor category, which is still there, and you do not require English language test in that particular category. If you're already here and you want to go into that and you have all the other requirements met, still you are on visitor visa, you can switch. That limited offer at the moment is only until 31st of May, not beyond that, unless Home Office makes new announcements. Okay, question is, if my visa is expiring and I could not meet the income threshold because in the past 2-3 months I have been laid off or furloughed, or I have no work as a self-employed, and now because of that I'm short of that 1 to 2 months salary or income, what should I do? Home Office, as I explained last time as well, has made it very clear that they are not going to reduce the 18,600 threshold at all, but they will consider every case on its own facts. So if you are short of 1-2 months income or salary, still you need to make an application with your covering letter explaining that why you are short of income. So it is in their discretion. They can grant you visa, or at least they will give you further extension, and once you have made up that gap, you can reapply, and when you are reapplying there will be no extra fee for that. So that should be clarified. Again, if there is someone who has not done the English test, and due to this COVID-19 the test centers are not giving them the date, again you must not delay your application. Do not pass the deadline. Do submit your application with a covering letter and send them, look, these are the inquiries I made, but I'm not getting the date for the English test, so please consider. So again, they will give you extra time to pass your English test. So this is very important. Please do not miss the deadline, because it is important. Online applications are they are accepting online applications, they are accepting your fees. The only thing they are not accepting at the moment is they are not issuing you the biometric date again until 31st of May, unless they make changes after 15th of May. So you will start getting the biometrics dates after 31st of May. There is no super priority service at the moment. They are not offering, because they cannot offer this biometric date. There's a question again, Sonia, about the surveys. Are the surveyors doing survey these days? If I want to buy a property and the lender wants to do the survey, is it ongoing?
So some lenders are accepting virtual surveys. They're not physically visiting the properties, but through plans, they can review the property and assess the situation. But again, not all lenders are accepting this.
Okay, so do contact your mortgage broker if you're going through the mortgage broker, and see which lenders are providing what services and which are not providing services. But hopefully we are not too far where that the government is hopefully going to ease out some lockdown, even though they said the social distancing will stay in place. So keep yourself safe as possible as you can. Do send us your questions. We are here to answer your questions, or email us at info@m-rsolicitors.co.uk. So anything else on you think in terms of probate? There are so many people who do not understand probate and will. So how important it is the will to be drafted beforehand, how it will help the probate process if we have the will, and if we don't have the will, what the difference it makes.
So ideally, well, when you do buy a property, if you have any assets, please do look into getting a will. If you need to create your will, do speak to us or any solicitor you feel comfortable with, and they can advise you on how to proceed on making your will. Ideally, if you have a will, it's the best way going forward. If the person does pass away, that gives your family the guidance on how and you want your assets to be dealt with, and it gives a guidance so they know where everything is going, and it's easier this way for probate purposes as well, and it does make it more straightforward and less chances of people trying to challenge your will as well.
Thank you very much. So we have another immigration question. I'm EU family, but now I have ILR, alhamdulillah, congratulations. If I want bring here my older brother, he's single, what kind of documents I need for it, and what kind of documents or any education required for him? Okay, thank you very much. If you have indefinite leave to remain, so you have come under the UK rules, you are not under EEA regulations again. So if you want to sponsor anyone from abroad, then you have to go through the UK immigration rules, not EU anymore, because you have come out of it. However, if the person you want to bring in is also related to that EU sponsor you had, and they are related to each other, and this EU sponsor has been financially sponsoring that relative abroad, then the same sponsor can sponsor him as well, and the application will be made under regulation 8 of EEA from abroad until 31st of December 2020. That will be the easier way to come. But if there is no relation, or the person has not been supported financially by the European relative, then the only route you have, and you want to sponsor under the ILR category, is the family dependent relative over the age of 18. It's a very, very high threshold. You did say that he's single, but it's not good enough. The cases the Home Office has accepted so far are those cases where we can establish some compassionate grounds that the person living abroad is living in most exceptional, compassionate circumstances. Some people, they have some medical issues, severe kind of medical issues, and there is no one, and there cannot be anyone in their country of residence who can look after. So that would be the case. Otherwise, if someone is over the age of 18, it would be very, very difficult to bring them over unless you cover that strict threshold. Okay, so is there any visa application option for an overstayer? College was revoked and visa got curtailed. Yes, there are options for overstayers. There is a category which is for those people who have lived in this country for less than 20 years. There is one for 20 years, which is quite easier, but there is a category less than 20 years. So the more time you have spent in this country, the better chances you have. But what you have to prove is that your social, cultural and family ties have been cut from the country you are from, and you have established all those ties here. It is a difficult threshold, but it depends on your case. So I would suggest that you should consult a lawyer, legal representative with all your documents and full history when did you come here, what did you achieve in terms of education, any work you have done whilst you were legal, any relationship you have developed here, and what relations and social life, family life, cultural life you have back home. After assessing all that, then he or she will be in a better position to advise you. But yes, you can always make applications into human rights. If you have some kind of threat to your life back home, then there is an application under asylum category. So you need to consider human rights or asylum category if you do meet those requirements. Okay, the applications from Pakistan. Someone has asked when can the application from my parents and sister can be filed from Pakistan. At the moment, you need to keep checking their website of JERI. At the moment, they are not accepting any applications because they are not in a position to conduct these biometric. So all these application centers are closed at the moment. Flights, only chartered emergency flights are operating. So I would suggest you need to wait as soon as the government of UK announces, say, within next 10-11 days. They did say that on 15 they will review the situation. So until then you need to wait, but at the moment all the applications, overseas applications, the new applications are on hold. You cannot submit new application, and even if you submit online, you will not be able to get the biometrics date, because all applications, whether from here or Pakistan or anywhere, it is online. So application you can submit, you can pay them the fees, but you will not able to get the date for biometrics, whether you are here or Pakistan or anywhere else. A time frame, obviously, when you make the application, then if it is a standard application, they can take around 3 months. If it is a priority or you are paying extra fees, then it can be done within a couple of weeks. Again, someone asked a very generic questions and very common question. No news for undocumented immigrants, for overstayers. Unfortunately, the government has made no announcement. I'm one of those lawyers or people who have been expecting this from this present government for some time now, because they have announced the Brexit. Probably they do that after the Brexit. We know that around 1 million people in this country who are staying there without documents. So they should consider these people who are already here, so they can openly contribute towards the economy of the UK, and they will be helpful after this pandemic situation, when you need people and you need to boost up your businesses. So you will not be able to get people straight away from abroad. Even in NHS, there are so many people in this country who are properly qualified to work with NHS, but they cannot because they do not have the documentation. So government should consider, and there are so many charities, so many organizations who have already written to Home Secretary, Secretary of State for Home Department to consider, but they haven't had any positive response from the government yet. So unfortunately, there is no good news for those. But as I say, if there are compassionate grounds in this pandemic situations, please do consult with your legal representatives, and this could be a right time to make these applications. Okay, someone has asked what are the requirements for student visas these days. Well, these days, again, as I said, that even if you make an application, you wouldn't be able to get the biometric date. Obviously, most of the universities now, the admissions are going to be in September, so probably June onwards, you should be able to make the applications if the situation changes. Requirements are still the same. You need to have a certificate admission letter from the university. They should accept you first of all. Then you have to have your English requirement. There are some universities who can give you admission without the English language test, and they give you a foundation course first before you start any degree or other program you want to start. So do look into that, which universities are accepting those without English requirement. Then there is a requirement of maintenance, your fees plus around £10,000, or depending which university, which area. If it's London, then it's more. If it's outside London, it's less than that. Again, whether you are coming on your own or you are coming with your dependents. So basically there is no change in the student visa requirement, but the only change for students who will be coming here now, who will be finishing, completing their course, whether it is master degree, by summer 2021, next year summer 2021, if you finish your course, then you will be eligible to get extra 2 years work permit, which has been announced. It will be form of like previous PSW. I don't know whether they will name it PSW or not, but this is definite, they will. So all the students who are coming now from January onwards, and they have even minimum of 18 months course from a university, they would be able to get this 2 years work visa. Yeah, this is very a valid question. A person who has been granted a visa under 10-year category, which I was discussing before, and extension is due in 2022, can he change it to 5-year route? Definitely you can, because you have become legal. You should not wait until 2022. If you do, you are wasting that time as well. So if your income threshold has been met, you are earning, or jointly with your wife or one of you earning 18,600 or more, and you have done A2 English language, A2 from Trinity English language test, you must apply now, and you will be getting biometric date obviously soon in May. In June, after 31st of May. So my recommendation is you should apply for that if your financial circumstances allow you. If you are on universal credit, see, I have very clearly stated that if you are earning 18,600 and after earning that you have disclosed that to social security, the people who are giving you benefits, if you have disclosed them that you are earning household income is over 18,600, you have kids, and they have allowed you benefits, you can, your wife, if you are the applicant and she is the spouse and sponsor, if she is getting extra benefits, universal credit, based on the income, which has to be over 18,600, yes, you can go for spouse visa still. It's only the problem when you're earning less than that and you are claiming benefits. So it's a wrong perception that if you are in receipt of benefits, you cannot make this application. You can make this application as long as you have sufficient income, 18,600, and you have disclosed that income to those benefits agency. Okay, the question is in related to property. If wife already has a house in her name, and now the husband wants to buy another property on his name, will he be considered a first-time buyer? I think yes, but let's have an expert opinion from Sonia.
If it's solely in the husband's name and he has no property in the UK or abroad, then yes, you would be considered first-time buyer.
Thank you, Sonia. So another question, immigration, that is. ILR was due in March 2020 due to COVID. He is unable to book same-day visa service because these services are suspended. Last night, police stopped him for overspeeding, and most probably he will get fixed motoring penalty. Does this affect on his ILR application if he got 6 points? Ooh, wow. First thing, he made a mistake. If in March his visa was expiring, he should have applied. I assume that still he has made the online application. So your question may be that if he had applied same day, he would have got ILR, and okay, if this incident happened after that, it would not hurt him. Yes, you are right. So now the application is pending. Since, see, the technical issue here is the day you are making application. So if you have made the application on 20th of March, and until 20th of March you did not have any points on your license, obviously you did not disclose. So whatever happened afterwards, it happened afterwards. So you had to disclose until that date. Okay, so you will still get indefinite leave to remain. However, it will affect your nationality application. Even if you disclose at this change of circumstances to Home Office, now look, change of circumstances, I have been given 6 points. Your indefinite leave to remain very likely most probably will not be affected, because it is not that criminal kind of offense where they do consider not granting indefinite. This is in their discretion, and as per my experience, there will be no problem. Indefinite leave to remain will be granted. The problem will be next year if his nationality is due after 1 year, or if the ILR is based on spouse visa, then you can make a nationality application even next day after ILR granted, as long as your spouse was or is still British national. Then there is no requirement of 12 months. But if you do fulfill the other requirements, so this 6 points will affect your nationality application, not the ILR. Okay, tier 4, dependent visa till end of 21. What other step or visa I have to look for extension or stay? If you have any other option at the moment, for example, student visa or work permit visa for yourself because you are dependent, at this moment in time, under the current situation, you can make that application whilst you are in the UK. So whether you want to become a student or again tier 2 work permit on your own behalf, you can do so. Anything else you can either make an application to human rights or not. That will depend on your circumstances and personal circumstances. Better to either send us or to your legal advisor. If you want to send us, it is by email, info@m-artsolicitors.co.uk. But the general answer is yes, you can extend to any other category before 31st May during this situation. How many weeks you have to allow to place your extension application before your current visa, T2 visa, expires? Any visa application which is expiring, you cannot apply at least before last 1 month. So if your visa is expiring 30th of May, you could make an application anytime after 30th of April. So in the last 1 month, technically they say 28 days, but 1 month meaning 2 days they allow you for post anyway. So in the last 1 month you can apply. If you apply before 1 month, practically if you have applied another 1 week earlier, it doesn't make any difference. But technically, if they refuse, they can refuse because you have applied before time. So please make sure you are applying in right time. However, if it was spouse visa, then situation could have been different, because when you come to this country, they normally give you a couple of months extra. So in that case, if you have already spent 29 months here and your visa is still valid for another 3-4 months, you can still apply as long as you have lived here for 29 months together. But in your particular case, tier 2 visa, no, only 1 month. Okay, again, the question is that change of circumstances because of COVID-19. I have no recourse to public fund, and I have 4 kids, all born in the UK, and my 2 kids are holding British passports. So those 2 kids who are holding British passport, I'm sure you should be getting child benefits for them because they are allowed, they are British, they are not under immigration control. So the other 2 and yourself, if you obviously are under that particular 10-year route, so as I suggested earlier, please send the application. There is no fee of this application. Send this application to Home Office, change of circumstances. But if you're not doing that and you are going for extension in few months and you are saying that the fees is going to be 11k because one application is going to cost you £2,053. So if there are 3 applications, that would be 6,000 something, not 11, because those 2 British children should not be making any application anymore. So whatever the cost is, and if you cannot afford, then you have to apply for a fee waiver application. There is another form for fee waiver application which you should apply in time, well before. So if you have to make this application after 3-4 months, you should apply that fee waiver application now, considering the present circumstances. Or worst case scenario, you can attach that application with your main application when you are making this main FLR FP application. Any specific questions, please do send us email at info@m-artsolicitors.co.uk or inbox your detailed message and we will get back to you on that. Okay, this is what we were talking about, a very unfortunate situation. A person who's a qualified nurse. After 9 years, there is a gap. So I don't know how long the gap was, if it was less than 28 days, depending which year it was, because in few years it was 28 days, then 14 days, then 28 days. So you need to consider if it was more than 28 days, then what were the reasons? See, when you made this application to Home Office at that stage, you should have considered if there were compassionate grounds, then Home Office does have a discretion to waive that. You see, but if you are in court now, the judge will not have that discretion. He will have to go through the rules. Rules do not allow discretion to judge unless he takes it under human rights category and grant you the visa under 10-year category route, but under ILR rules, under Article 8 if they can grant you, but under ILR rules, judge will not have any discretion. So you have passed that time, unfortunately. I would suggest that, I don't know whether if you have done that or not, you should, even though your application is pending, your appeal is pending, I would suggest in these circumstances, do a very compassionate letter describing the situation that you are a qualified nurse and you want to be you want to offer your services to NHS. In these circumstances, grant you visa. I think better to get advice, proper legal advice on that, and create a reconsideration kind of letter, even if you are out of time, because you should have done that within 14 days. Reconsideration, even though you were making an appeal and you have made an appeal. So even on appeal, you have to make your case very compassionate, because we need to consider, see, you can benefit the UK economy by a professional nurse, so they should consider it on compassionate grounds. Unfortunately, you should have done it earlier, but still, you shouldn't let it go. Okay, someone in Pakistan wants to apply extended family member visa under EA category, I believe, and the sponsor, if the sponsor is European national and resident qualified person in the UK, meaning working in the UK or has got permanent status in the UK, and you have been financially dependent upon him or member of his household in Pakistan, yes, online application you can submit and wait for the date they give you for biometrics sometime in June. So yes, you can make online application if the requirements are met. All those who are emailing us, we will try to respond them back on our emails. So please be patient. Okay, time is up, but we will try to answer as many as we can now. Pending ILR applications with Home Office, if application is pending for last 4 years. Yes, this is a very typical particular case. I think now you should try your MP as well, and if that doesn't work, if your MP writes to the Home Office that why they are delaying, it is extraordinary delay. 4 years delay is extraordinary delay. So if they do not still give you a satisfactory answer, then the only option you have is judicial review application based on excessive delay. It may be an expensive exercise, but you must do that. Otherwise, I think just keep writing the Home Office, and either they have lost your file or they just don't like your, I don't know, I shouldn't say anything like that against Home Office, but I don't see the reason, unless they're making some extraordinary high level inquiry against you and they are waiting for those inquiries. But as I said, initially do engage your MP. If the solicitor's letters are not working, if MP's letter is not working, do consider judicial review application without further delay. Thank you. Please do not send more questions. I will not be able to answer, but I'll try to answer a few questions here. Visitor visas, obviously anybody can make visit visa application from anywhere, but if it depends on your previous traveling history. Some people, they keep trying visit visa applications from abroad and keep getting refusals. So if that is the case, please do not make further applications. Try to build up your traveling history. Go to those countries first for business purposes if you have genuine business, where visa is not required or the requirements are less. So for example, the question, I assume it is from Pakistan. So if it is from Pakistan, try to go to business trips to UAE, to traveling history that will benefit you. And some people, they do put the documents, they do not try to relate the documents, and if they are putting documents of business, the business actually the documents are not on their name, they are on their wife's name, the mother or father's name. So you need to corroborate the evidence, which is lacking most of the time. So don't just keep making applications to get a refusal. How long maximum time Home Office can take for any visa? Very interesting questions and disappointing response I must give you, and that is there is no limit. You see, normally they say that in average up to 6 months they take. If they are taking more than 6 months in your particular application, you do need to chase them 1-2 letters from your legal representatives. If it doesn't work, then do consider going to your MP and ask him why they are delaying. So they must give you reasons why they are delaying. If they're making any sort of inquiries, so they must let you know what sort of inquiries they are making. Probably you will be able to help them. If they are not responding, then as I said earlier, you shouldn't be waiting. You should make judicial review application. But you see, every case has its own facts. Some cases they are decided within a couple of weeks. Some cases take many months or few years. But again, as per your particular case, you need to consider your legal representative. If you don't have, please send us email info@m-rsolicitors.co.uk, and we will be able to advise you in your as per your particular circumstances. Okay, people who have lived in the UK for 15 years, it is less than 20 years, but yes, there is a category for less than 20 years, and these are the cases I was talking about. If someone has lived here for 15 or over 15, 16, 17 years, I think this is the right time to make that particular applications I was talking about, that your cultural, your social, your family ties are in the UK and not abroad. Because if you have lived here, because you can relate to the category of the old category of 14 years, that you did consider that 14 years is something where people do lose their ties with their countries. Yes, that has been extended to 20 years, but that precedent is still there. So people who have spent over 14, 15 years in this country and they have no ties back home and their old ties are in this country, you should make this application, and the rules allow you to make this application. Okay, the question is, do you have your office in Pakistan? And no, we are not running our office anywhere now. We used to run in so many countries, but when in person I'm there, then I do establish a temporary office and I do see clients. Otherwise, you can just send us email here. Your other query is totally different. Your question is, Gwadar property investment safe? Property investment anywhere in the world depends where you're spending and how you're spending. You see, I personally have projects in Gwadar, so I would say yes, it is safe. My projects are the best in the whole world. Please invest with us. But please do your due diligence. See, I will do a proper session on property investment in Pakistan. I'll try to do it next week on Facebook, so please do watch this. I will try to highlight those areas which should be considered, what due diligence you must do before you buy the property, because I have done this survey myself from authentic sources, and people who have problems in Pakistan, in particularly I'm talking about Pakistan, that they went there, they bought plots, they bought properties, they came back and they say that ki ji kabza ho gaya, someone has taken over our lands. And when I did my research and it came to my knowledge that that piece of land or property or business they have bought either from their own relative or on the instructions of the relative, and the same relative or the other relative from the same family have taken it over. They have become the land mafia there. So please, when you buy any property, any plot, any land, any business in Pakistan, similarly you do here, same facilities are available there. So if you buy a property here, you find a property, you just don't give money to the vendor at the same time. No. What you do is you go to the estate agents, the estate agents show you around, then you ask inquiries from the estate agent. You go to your solicitors. The solicitors will ask, first of all, the person who is selling you the property is actually the owner of the property, and if not, then does he have a proper authority to sell the property? And the solicitors will do the due diligence for you. They will do all the searches, who has bought the property previously, what defects it may have. So all the searches will come in front of you, and then you will give the money to your solicitor, and the solicitors will pass it on to the other side. So if you are buying properties even in Pakistan or abroad, please do engage UK solicitors. Let them engage Pakistani solicitors there. Why I'm saying this? Because when I offered my project in UK, I said legal protection. And what does that legal protection means? So if you engage a UK solicitors who may not have knowledge of property law in Pakistan, but he will engage someone in Pakistan for you. There may be a little extra cost. So if you're spending 10, 20, 30,000 pounds, you can spend 500 to 1,000 pounds extra, but it is an insurance for you. Why I'm saying that? If the solicitor you have engaged, he has failed to do the due diligence, and because of his failure you have lost your property, you have lost your money, these UK solicitors, you know, I know, are insured. Any typical firm, normal firm, is insured minimum 1 million per claim, and LLPs are minimum 3 million, and depending on the size of the firm, they are insured. So your claim definitely is not going to be over £1 million. So they are insured. So at least your money is secure. So this is kind of insurance. Plus they will do all the legal due diligence they have to. They will engage a solicitor and they will make sure that what they are doing is right. If they go wrong, you are not gone wrong. You can claim your money back. So this is very important. Start using your UK solicitors, and I'm sure there are so many Pakistani, your community solicitors who have experience in Pakistan of these cases, or they can engage someone from there for you, and they will be responsible for all the transactions. So you need to negotiate with your solicitor. So please, yes, investment in Gwadar is safe, investment in Pakistan is safe, as long as you do your due diligence. But we will try to run a session on that, and we will try to take an expert from here or from Pakistan on live session with us, and we'll try to answer those questions. That would be all for today. We will come back to you next week, definitely with immigration questions, as well as I said, either we will choose the financial market, financial products for UK, or we will choose the property of investment in Pakistani property, or we may choose immigration to Canada as well. These are the areas I'm getting questions, a lot of questions on these areas, so we will try to answer you on those areas. But do keep watching our Facebook page on MR Solicitors, M-R Solicitors LLP, our Facebook page. So we will advertise there that what topics we will have next week. I would like to thank you, all of you, who has sent us inquiries, who have watched our this session and sending us inquiries. I did get a very good response last time. So many emails, they want to come and see me, but unfortunately you have to be a bit patient. We will start seeing face to face hopefully soon after 15th, depending on the situation. So until then, stay safe, and Allah Hafiz and bye from me.
Thank you for tuning in.